into cybersecurity, there's a ton of content out there, and if you don't know where to start, it can be overwhelming, even paralyzing. So let's fix that. Welcome to Simply Cyber, a community of tens of thousands of aspiring and active cybersecurity professionals focused on networking, knowledge sharing, and professional development. I'm Dr. Gerald Ozier, Chief Content Creator at Simply Cyber, inviting you to get the answers to your cybersecurity problems with hundreds of cybersecurity videos answering your frequently asked questions, interviewing industry experts, and live streaming daily cyber threat briefings hosted by me. Now get the stories and insights you won't find anywhere else. Hit subscribe now and dig into all the fresh content on the channel and in the community. Nothing should stop you from launching and leveling up your cybersecurity career today.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to today's episode number 396. Today is June 27th of the year 2023. That intro music always gets me a little pumped. I do love that upbeat, so you always see my fat man dancing, things of that nature. Before we get this thing going, I'm not going to be able to do that. So sorry for a few moments of delay here this morning. Definitely having some technical issues. Definitely working on trying to get this thing set up a little bit better. So when I am in Gerald Ozier's A chair, yes, I did catch that, throwing that, a-hole chair type of thing. So I am very honored, very privileged to be guest filling in for the next couple of days for Dr. Gerald Ozier, doing the best that I can from a technical aspect of things. But again, welcome to episode 396 of Cyber News Now. I always want to keep saying first things first or one of the other ones, but I do love throwing some of those older videos out there to kind of reminisce about how the channel has come from so far, from even last year to even this year, and the community that's in here. So, a little throwback to some of those older intros and stuff like that that I really still do enjoy. But we are going to dig into the show here in just a few moments. I wanted to give a shout out to the stream sponsors. You, of course, know me. My name is Eric Taylor. I am the CEO, Chief Forensic Operator here at Barricade Cyber Solutions. We will talk about me kind of a little bit throughout the show, so I won't give an in-depth type of marketing or snippet for that, but I would like to introduce you to Panoptcy Read if this is your first time here. We definitely a lot of folks. So okay, talking about Panoptcy for a second, we want to see what is your actual threat. I know Dr. Joe Dozier says a lot of times that what is your tolerance for going into an actual having a potential ransomware. Well, think about this also as, what is your threat landscape for, data exfiltration? We've been seeing a lot of the folks in there from CLOP having pure data exfiltration, things of that nature. We're seeing a lot of new threat actors. Essentially, what you need to assess is any sort of downtime impacting your organization. Like for a jackwagon like me to come in and say, all right, I'm pulling all the servers out of your server rack and I'm going to throw them in the back of this U-Haul. I've made this analogy a ton of times. How much money are you losing every day, every hour, every minute? What is the cost of that? Not only your labor, but productivity, customers, things of that nature. But what does it cost to actually get back, up and running? A lot of times it is that ransomware. It is that, the total outage of your business that really is the detrimental of it, right? So if you're worried, essentially, if you're worried about downtime and wanting to see where your holes are, definitely get in touch with Panoptcy Security. See if they are able to help do a quantified risk assessment for your organization and be able to help show you different ways of thinking about your business's IT infrastructure and potential downtime, right? So definitely reach out to them. I want to remind everybody that every episode of the daily cyber threat briefing is worth having a CPE. So be sure to say hi in the chat to document that you are in fact here. If you are live, love it, love it, love it. We happy for you to be here. If you are team replay, thanks for catching up. Drop team replay in the chat. If you are passive observer like I am, you're always kind of sitting in the chat, or here lately, I've been definitely team replay. Definitely drop that into the chat to say, hey, finally catching up with everybody and kind of going from there. I do know that everybody has been wanting this for a while, so we'll count it down. 3, 2, 1. So I actually got myself a stream deck so I can actually drop those dolphins so I don't have to change the tabs, things of that nature. So hopefully everybody's able to have been able to hear that and kind of going forward. I just don't want to check. I'm not seeing anybody saying anything in chat. Just if everybody can just say my audio is good, please, that'd be great before we fire this thing off. I see the dolphins coming in now. Very cool, very cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we're going to kick this thing off to be respectful of the NCE group and trying to get things done in a timely fashion. Are we going to have our first audio issue? I think we had this problem last time too, didn't we?
From the CISO series,
There we
it's
go.
Cybersecurity Headlines.
It's Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. Monopoly Darknet operator charged. The U.S. Department of Justice filed charges against Milomir Desnica, accusing the Serbian man of facilitating over $18 million in illicit drug transactions on the monopoly market. Monopoly launched back in 2019, focusing on selling narcotics and other drugs. The DOJ alleges Desnica did personal verification for vendors. He used 2 crypto exchange services over the last 3 years in an attempt to hide the transactions. The DOJ worked on the case against Desnica for a while now. It seized Monopoly's hosting server back in December 2021. Austrian authorities subsequently arrested Desnica in November 2022. Law enforcement arrested over 288 vendors connected to the market in an operation called Spectre back in May. Now, extradition to the U.S. went through this week.
Interesting. So, I mean, a lot of these, we see it all the time, ladies and gentlemen, where, people are running on the dark net and we're not even, we are sharing. Okay, sorry. So a lot of threat actors are moving over to Telegram, just to give you some insight from our side of the fence here. The dark web, aka dark net or Tor network, is a layer above the internet where people are kind of doing their thing. Like I said, a lot of threat actors are moving over to the Telegram services for communication with a lot of these things, but you're still going to have some dark net, some Tor networks that are going to be out there, so that way you can actually have an e-commerce store, right? So that way you can actually buy and sell illicit things, whether it's the drugs or if it's credit cards or whatever the case is. But a lot of these cases take a while, right? So pretty cool that they were able to take this thing down. I'm not one to shame anybody. If you're using drugs, you're using drugs, whatever. But the one thing that really does scare me, and this is not to get political by any means, but the thing that really scares me is that fentanyl, where you do see that, uh, a lot of people are getting, really sick, being hospitalized, even dying from, these fentanyl cases and things of that nature. And, when you're buying things from a non-trusted source, I always worry about that for people, right? I hate to see anybody go through that, right? So, good thing for them, thankfully it doesn't. I didn't see anything when I combed through this that that there was any fentanyl or anything like that. It's just taking you know a, taking potential bad people selling illicit drugs off the internet. So kudos to police. That reminds me, I'm gonna have to get that police sounder um, that Jared always plays. So, but anyway, carrying on, ladies and gentlemen, carrying on.
Activision Blizzard games hit with a DDoS. The distributed denial of service attack hit the game's publisher's servers for roughly 10 hours over the weekend, making many of its games unplayable, including the recently released title Diablo 4. Because these games are always online, it makes them particularly vulnerable to DDoS attacks. Activision did not identify a group behind the attack, and no one seems to have taken credit yet. The company saw a similar attack back in September, although that only saw outages of games of up to 3 hours.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know really what to say about this, to be honest with you. I mean, threat actors are attacking businesses. Welcome to another day that ends in Y. But I guess from a technical standpoint, because you guys hear Dr. Gerald Ozier to come from the CISO. I'm definitely here for the technical aspect of things. Yeah, I know that Blizzard is a massive, massive gaming platform or manufacturer, and they got their own, platform for multiplayer and all that stuff. Forgive me, I'm going to sound like a boomer because I'm kind of been out of the gaming world for a little while now. So if I say anything incorrectly here, just forgive me. It's like, oh, that freaking boomer. So going back to Panoptcy security a little bit, just to give a tip of the hat to them. I'm sure somebody like Panoptcy security, when they come in here for their quantified risk assessment, looking at this, do you have high availability? Do you have the ability to potentially go after or stop DDoS attacks coming into your organization? Little tidbit of information for you: a lot of the threat actors in these ransomware cases will threaten DDoS attacks. So you're going through, you're doing recovery efforts, and you're trying to get back up and running, and because you didn't pay the extortion, the ransom, then they're threatening to DDoS you. So when you're building your infrastructure back, this is things that are part of doing business. And when you're a global entity like Blizzard, like Apple, like Microsoft, and we can line up literally the Fortune 500 in a line, and ask them, how are you going to withstand a DDoS attack, right? So it sucks that players who bought into the game, they weren't able to play. I do feel bad a little bit for the the kiddos out there that were so eager to see this, because I think there was a new Diablo that was just dropped, I thought I saw. So I know people are eagerly playing that. So, but it seems like they got it up, but they've had problems. So hopefully they got a long-term plan going forward, right? So carrying on, ladies and gentlemen.
5G deadline could impact flights. The Wall Street Journal reports that as of July 1st, planes flying in the U.S. without retrofitted radar altimeters can't land in low visibility conditions. They won't be cleared to do so. This cutoff comes as part of a deadline by U.S. wireless carriers to increase power to 5G networks. Right now, about 80% of domestic aircraft and 65% of aircraft from international destinations have updated equipment. You may recall carriers and the Federal Aviation Administration butted heads with this power increase last year. The carriers initially planned to increase power in January 2022, delaying until July 2022 before compromising to a final delay until July 1st of this year.
All right, we'll talk about this in 1 second. Sorry for a little side comment. I'm seeing the mod chat to zoom in the screen. Is everybody able to see the sites at all? Are y'all able? Is it clear? Let me know, please. I'm actually going to bring up mine real quick. Yeah, it might have been just that last. Yeah, I think it was that Blizzard one. And that one actually did not zoom in very well, mod and folks. Oh, well, that went way crazy. So I'm seeing can't see the sites. It's small, but fine to me. It's just a little small. Okay, thanks for the feedback. I'll talk to Base Case or some of the other modders and see, how to make this a little bit better. I may have to actually install StreamYard or something like that. In fact, I could probably talk to Casually Joseph and he could probably get me figured out so that way we can get this thing done. So, but yeah, those who don't know the kind of setup, I got, this main screen kind of where the camera is up there, got a big curved one, and this one is, it's literally the entire thing. So, and that's really the only way I can be able to share my sound out. It's really, really stupid. But anyway, 5G, this thing's been coming out for a long, long time. And this is just another case of businesses are going to, okay, hold on. Let me come in close to you. Lesson number one that I've learned over the many, many years of running this organization and working for others, business is going to put off as long as possible anything that's being mandated to them to the last effing second. It is effing crazy. Maybe try the PNP layer slightly overlaid at the bottom. And okay, Joe, I'll check that 1 second. So business is going to push off anything they can do until the last possible second. And that's just what they do, right? Unless they are forced to do something, they're effing it not going. Hold on, they're effing not going to. They're really just not going to. So it's not surprising to me that businesses are taking this long to adopt something that's been a problem looming for over a year. So anyway, bear with me 1 second. I am seeing Dr. Jared Ozier in the chat. Let's see if we can do this. There we go. Let me refresh my YouTube stream here. That actually looks better, at least on my screen. Everybody let me know, does that look better for everybody? It does look better on my side anyway. And if this is the way that we need to do it, no big deal. Because we are here for you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm getting confirmation from Dr. Darrell Rozier that does look good. Kimberly can fix it, says it's good. Everybody in the chat is saying it's good. Fantastic. This will be the way that we'll go forward. And again, like I said, I'll talk to you, Casually Joseph, and some of the mods later today, if time allows, and try to figure out a different little bit of setup. Like I said, get Stream Deck or one of those other applications going, so that way we can have a little bit better in here. But here we go. Come on, why are you playing? Oh, are you kidding me? Hey, what is it without a technical issue on stream? Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen. It's like the site's not even working now. Okay, here we go. 1 second, let me just catch up.
80% of domestic aircraft and maker of our SaaS ecosystem use in chip manufacturing. The Japanese government announced a $6.3 billion deal to privatize the company.
I'll catch that up in just 1 second. For the mid-roll, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. I greatly do appreciate it. I did forget to get the Simply Cyber Community Challenge screener. I definitely feel like a kind of haphazard show here a little bit. Sorry for this one. But if y'all didn't see yesterday, I always like to show, especially when I'm being a guest host, the last person who did show it. So Benjamin Middleton, if you are in the chat, please say hi. Please get ready to pass the baton on to another individual so that way they could be able to talk about their story. I'll throw this into the chat right now. So if you have not seen Benjamin's post yesterday, definitely go check it out. He does talk about, his Simply Cyber summary of, what he likes about the channel. He does talk about a little bit how he got into the industry, things of that nature. So definitely check him out. This is definitely a way to expand your network, expand who you're talking to, um, and be able to, lean on more and more people. And I have learned so much, even me doing what I do. I've learned so much by even watching other people's LinkedIn posts. Like, oh, I didn't even think about that or whatever, and it helps make me sometimes a better digital forensic person, investigator, cybersecurity analyst, sometimes just a great overall human being just by putting yourself in someone else's shoes and walking a mile in it, if you will. Um, so, yep, Simply Cyber Challenge, just catching up on chat. But yeah, is Benjamin in chat? Kimberly can fix and Dr. Darrell Ozier, and hoping in browser. But that's not going to work. Anyway, I'll make sure Dr. Odozer, I'll get it fixed for next episode. I really do feel bad, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like this thing is kind of a train wreck. But anyway, one thing I do want to mention coming up tomorrow is how to market your secure cyber self. Now, Dr. Odozer did say that he is not going to be here. There will be a guest host that's going to be here. I really personally like this guest host that's coming up. Me and this individual has definitely done some work together before. I'm definitely interested in seeing this one. So definitely tune into that if you are trying to advance your. We're going off the rails in the trades. Yeah, that's right, Steve. That's right. But definitely tune into that for tomorrow. Save that, get notified. There, like I said, there is going to be definitely a special guest host for tomorrow, and it's going to be very, very cool. So being able to put a different spin and flavor on some of these things is always really, really cool. And with that, we will carry on. Hopefully, no more. That's right. We got to catch this thing up real quick.
Stock price premium in the significant threat to USR CEO Eric Johnson said the Japanese chip materials sector needs to consolidate to combat rising competition and that it plans to relist. Are you continuously monitoring the common misconfigurations occurring in your SaaS ecosystem? From inactive connected SaaS apps retaining access to sensitive data to threat actors manipulating conditional access rules, these misconfigurations can pose a significant threat to your SaaS security. Take action with App Omni. Secure your organization's most sensitive data and continuously monitor your SaaS ecosystem for data exposure and misconfigurations. Visit appomni.com to get a free risk assessment.
All right, so I will drop a hint. Kimberly can fix it. Yes, that is who it is. If anybody who follows me at all, I will give you a little hint. It is Smiley. I call this person Smiley all the time. That's the hint that I'll give you. So chew on that, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully that'll give you a little insight and more eagerness for it.
Microsoft warns of credential stealing spike. The company said it detected a sharp rise in attacks by the Russian-affiliated group Midnight Blizzard looking to steal credentials. These attacks targeted governments, NGOs, defense, manufacturing, and IT service providers. Microsoft noted the group uses residential proxy services to route traffic and avoid detection. It uses a variety of techniques to overall conduct session replay attacks in order to gain access to cloud services. Researchers noted the attackers also seem quick to weaponize recent news content in order to better craft spear phishing emails.
Yeah. I mean, all right, here we go. Just what in the... It's another day. Look, ladies and gentlemen, seriously, this is just OPSEC, right? So you're if you manage any 365 tenant, you manage any you know, it's if you manage any email system, you're going to see phishing attempts coming in. You're going to see credential stuff. You're going to see all these fake freaking Microsoft sites, Um, this is nothing new. I mean, granted, thanks for letting us know that it's on the rise, but we've been seeing this all year, right? I mean, we've been seeing that freaking hell for since COVID, right? You see it, with the COVID vaccines, and you seeing about, is your state on lockdown, and you got to sign in to, do this, and um, you know, one thing that we did for some of our fishing training, literally for a couple of our clients with Fourth of July parties, right? And so I don't know. I mean, it's good to be. I guess the best thing I could say about this, even being a topic, is being situationally aware, right? Okay, in the back of your mind, that these things are going on, and maybe you'll be a little bit more diligent about this, but you know, okay. To me, this is just another day that ends in a Y. Maybe I'm a little tinfoil hat Jerry, right? I don't know.
Windows 11 gets a passkey manager.
Oh
The latest
boy.
Windows 11 Insider build includes an integrated passkey manager, allowing users to sign into accounts with Windows Hello. Microsoft says this will allow for a broader range of native Windows Hello logins across sites and apps using face or fingerprint biometric authentication. Users can also use a PIN or their phone as another factor for logging in. The build also brings a passkey manager into the Windows settings. Bleeping Computer reports it appears that this is still a work in progress. Some website passkeys worked fine, but it noted Google allowed the PC to save a passkey, but never prompted it to use it at login.
Passwordless logins has definitely been a thing that's been very interesting to me. Yeah, I've definitely been keeping an eye on it because, I mean, we have, so you have Duo, right, or Authy, and you can push MFA. You have YubiKeys. You have Windows Hello. You have, Google's doing some of their own stuff, and now Microsoft is definitely trying to do their passwordless or passwordless logins. And I'll tell you what, it's a freaking train wreck. Trying to figure out, should this company do this passwordless login application? But if you're using Duo, who does owned by Cisco, and they don't support Windows Hello, so you can't invoke any of the Windows Hello features and use Duo security. There's a lot of items that are out there that will conflict with each other and make this thing, dead in the water as soon as you try to do implementation of any of this stuff, right? Um, so do your due diligence. Make sure you are, um, properly vetting it out. Putting it, VLAN a network. Put one or two or three workstations on there, even VMs if you can do it, and try to get it. Try to test it out. Even do mock trials for. Here's one thing. So when you're doing implementations of a lot of these things, not to give OSINT or any sort of anything else. Let's just say hypothetically you work in a manufacturing organization and you got a shipping department. That shipping department will have 2 or 3 shifts, anywhere between 3 and 4, 5, 6 people, going back and forth to that one terminal, and you may have 5 terminals. And maybe, Joe goes to terminal A and does a couple of things with shipping, and then he's over at terminal B, and then, Q over here, and, all of that other stuff. And how are you going to work those type of situations, right? So putting testing computers in to see how that works before you go global adoption, definitely do that, right? So I've seen implementations of these things go very, very sideways because they tested it on IT computers, and then the whole company just goes because nothing works the way it's supposed to, right? So you almost have a mutiny inside the organization. So again, I would love to see. Let me leave it in the chat. Are you doing any passwordless implementations? Who are you using? And what pitfalls you're seeing with that, right? Because like I said, we've been seeing a lot of them with some problems. So let's be honest, this is early adoption stuff, right? And this may make no, we're still good on time. So this really is early adoption, right? Windows Hello, you got to have it allows you to use biometric, it allows you to use PIN, you can use your camera if it supports it. I've never been a big fan of pins to log into your computer, right? A 6-digit pin, it's not going to take you that long. So do you have lockout factors in place? The camera part of Windows Hello, there's been Black Hat talks where they can take a really good picture printed out on a really good printer and just kind of curve it a little bit to kind of mimic the contours of a face and be able to log into a computer because it's not that flat. It's got a little bit of a contour, so it tricks the camera a little bit. So, I mean, I do think biometric is a good item. Of course, those things can be mimicked a little bit. You always see the TV shows where they put the things on the fingertips and they can do it, whatever. Only 5 months. Let's go, Eric. Campbell, I don't understand member for 7, but thank you. Oh, I just noticed it. Dr. Gerald Ozier had put in the gifted 50 subs. What? Did we become best friends? Yes. So Dr. Gerald Ozier is definitely putting in some gifted subs out there. So good job, Dr. Gerald Ozier. This thing really, really, really likes to mess up. All right, we're at 4:39. Let me just reload this. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. If I remember right,
Affiliated group
we had this problem.
services to access of an insider bill.
Be quiet. I'm going to take you off. I'm going to take this off because I don't want y'all to hear that train wreck for a second. Give me a second. All right, there we go.
JP Morgan fined for deleting evidence. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission fined the banking giant $4 million after it deleted email records from 2018. These emails belong to about 8,700 mailboxes belonging to its Chase Bank subsidiary. The Securities Exchange Act of 1934 requires retention of these business records, but the SEC fined it because it meant the company couldn't produce evidence in at least 12 civil securities-related regulatory investigations. JP Morgan blamed the incident on an unnamed archiving vendor, which led workers to believe that removing older emails on JP Morgan's own systems would lead to permanent deletion. The company initially reported the deletion to the SEC back in January 2020. It's a me.
You with, I guess, a nice little slap on the wrist for JP Morgan. I mean, let's just be honest, ladies, folks. Fined $4 million to JP Morgan. Wasn't JP Morgan the same company that just bought out that other failing bank that was heavy into the tech sector a couple months back? Either way, JP Morgan is definitely 4 million is a drop in a bucket. That's probably half a day revenue for these guys, right? So, but definitely, I mean, deleting emails and email records, that's definitely not good. What are you potentially hiding? Yeah, that's definitely under the 7 years. Yes, Alfredo, Silicon Valley Bank, exactly. I think JP Morgan was the organization that bought Silicon Valley Bank. And I did receive reports, and I'm stepping outside of my wheelhouse. So if I'm speaking incorrectly, please correct me in the chat. So just give that asterisk there. If I remember correctly, no one bank is supposed to hold more than a certain percentage of all the transactions or the holdings inside the country. And by JP Morgan taking on Silicon Valley Bank, they crossed that threshold. But the federal government's like, eh. So, maybe too much tinfoil hat, Eric, on. But if that's the case, maybe that's why they didn't get smacked with a harder fine than 4 million. That actually, JP Morgan just stepped up to the plate and freaking, bailed out, a ton of freaking people. Now, I mean, granted, FDIC was, insured for a lot of those accounts and all that stuff, and definitely don't want to get too over politically, especially in here, because we can go down a very nasty, ugly rabbit hole. But yeah, it's just don't delete emails. All right. Look at all the political people over the past years that have done it, and it's gone really, really awry. Right. So, and I also get it noted, and thank you, Jenny Housley. Benjamin, please tag somebody. Are you in the chat today? That forgot, or sorry if I missed that one, but please tag somebody for the Simply Cyber Community Challenge to take that baton and talk about their story. So hopefully Kimberly or Jenny Housley can see you. If we don't hear anything from Benjamin, I tell you what, before we get on to the next story, we will stick around for a little bit of jaw jacking for a moment. There's something I want to mention that we kind of seen yesterday about situational awareness for you and your organization. A little selfless plug a little bit. But if you are interested in telling your story on Simply Cyber Community Challenge, say Simply Cyber Me or something, say I want to talk something. All right. So that way, if Benjamin is not in the feed today, then we could be able to pick somebody. The mods can just pick somebody at random to be able to talk about their story.
Malware. Researchers at Cybele discovered that threat actors began distributing a modified installer version for the game Super Mario 3 Mario Forever. It's unclear the exact channel, but the researchers say it likely came from a gaming forum or social media groups. The installer does actually install the game, but it also includes 2 other executables that install a Monero crypto miner. This runs every 15 minutes and hides under the name of a legitimate process to obfuscate activity. It also contacts a C2 server to pull down an initial InfoStealer payload, and this looks for session and authentication tokens, as well as crypto wallets. Security.
All right. Yeah, this one was I seen this come across over the weekend. Priceless Pancake. Stick around for a few moments, and I will talk about the Simply Cyber challenge one more time for those newcomers that are just showing up. So yeah, this was definitely, I did see this come across my feed over the weekend. I did not dive into it very much. Off the cuff, I originally thought this was, those who've been around in technology for a while, y'all remember sites like the Pirate Bay and those other Tor, or not Tor, but those freaking platforms. I'm wanting to say Tor Network, but that's dark web. But you guys know So that way, P2P and some of those other, sites that you can be able to share files and music and stuff like that, right? Um, so I originally thought that this was part of that. And I was like, yeah, you're downloading a list of games that are not legal, so you're getting, crap installed on your computer. Good job, Jackwagon. But this may actually be a legitimate game, but they don't know where it's coming from. So it may come back that this is actually, from some of those sites, right? A lot of people saying in chat, LimeWire, Bill Ick Torrents, thank you. That's what I was thinking of. For some reason, I could not bring it up to the top of my head. Choco Boo Boo 16, love the name torrent sites, but yeah. So yeah, it's definitely interesting, right? It'd be interesting to see if did it come from torrents? Did it come from, something else? Um, is this part of the supply chain hack? Did the creators of Super Mario Forever actually get, code injected like we've seen with some of these other organizations, right? And I got to stop Teams because I'm sure you folks are hearing that. Sorry. So sorry about that. Some people are chatting it up real quick. But anyway, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see exactly where this came from and if this was like supply chain hack, things of that nature. Oh, this thing actually modifies the host files too. Holy crap. So it's oh, look, for those who don't know what you're looking at right here, this is very interesting. So this thing's actually adding 0.0.0.0. So like when a computer tries to go to sophos.com, 360totalsecurity.com, avg.com, all the popular AVs, it times out, right? So it those who don't know, okay, so let's take a step back and we'll do a little bit of a technical deep dive a little bit for a second. Let's see how to best to phrase this. Non machine learning AI or even non-behavior indicated AV EDR tool. So when you get into AV, it gets really, really crazy. So, okay, non-behavior based detection, right? It looks at behavior. So we'll take CrowdStrike and SentinelOne as an example because they're pretty much the leaders in behavior analysis on potential threats. They look at what an application does to see if it's potentially malicious, not malicious, things of that nature. A lot of the older traditional AVs that are out there, like your Norton, like your AVG and Panda Security, and even Windows Defender, it does do a little bit of that, but it will take that file, hash it, and upload it to their cloud, and then it'll do its analysis and they'll return and say, is this potentially malicious or not malicious? Dump it into our sandboxing. Some AVs have on-premise sandboxing, some have cloud sandboxing, things of that nature. So it's definitely the way that AV works and things of that nature is definitely an interesting, depending on the manufacturer that's creating that one. So it's real interesting to see that they have blocked it out. So that's a little nugget. This is also, so from a technical aspect of things, the one thing that we look for in digital forensics and any blue teamer, if you're defending a network, one thing you need to look for is modification of host files. It is very, very rare that it actually happens, right? Even as of earlier this year, maybe even later last year, I would like, yeah, host files, they're not really modified much anymore. It's kind of, maybe it's okay to monitor it or whatever, but we always left it in, right? Because we don't ever want to leave a potential vector that's out there to be modified or anything like that. But this actually just brings it back where host files are being manipulated by malware to, what's the right word, to deny traffic for legitimate services is the best way I can put it, right? So they're trying to make sure that their program is not being detected by the AV platform. So a little tidbit for the day. I mean, I know a lot of the AVs are looking for XMR miner, which those who don't know, that is a CPU based miner. So it just makes your computer run really, really, really freaking slow, because all your CPU is pretty much getting taken up by the XMR miner. So the Duck DNS, those who don't know, that's a dynamic DNS service. So more likely there was a dynamic IP address that was sitting behind it that constantly changes. That's why you'll use one of those public DNS services, things of that nature. So a lot of good information in this one. That way you can be able to dump into your hunting to make sure nothing is potentially going on inside of your network. Give me a second. And that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, is it for today's episode. Like I said, we will talk about a few moments of jaw jacket here in a moment. If you're just here for the news, thank you so much. I know this was a rough start. I know I was getting to my desk really, really late and did not get a chance to put it together. I do promise things will be a little bit better for tomorrow's episode. Really glad that the new layout, at least dropping my image down and making more of that real estate space, is definitely a better look and feel. So we will do everything again tomorrow. If you want to stick around for the jaw jacking just for a few moments, I do see Teams is blowing up on my side. So I will be ending this very, very shortly. But I do want to mention, like, real quick about some jaw jacking. We had 2 stories that I posted out yesterday about ransomware groups. And again, this is just situational awareness, right? Let me switch this over. Well, actually, I can just do this. Get rid of this. This. And where's the other story? All right, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right, let's fire this back up again. All right, so again, situational awareness, ladies and gentlemen. We did see yesterday there's a group called Everest Ransomware Group that has been quiet for about 2 months. And they posted yesterday up on their darknet site, Tor site, dark web, whatever, that they are looking for new partners. In the next couple of days, they will be that they are looking for Jen Housley. Thank you so much. They are looking for new partners and what they mean by partners is people. This is a ransomware as a service or type of setup where Everest is the quote unquote corporation, and they're looking for freelancer, aka subcontractors, and they're looking for subcontractors, aka partners, to be more, or to start doing more ransomware attempts. So they were heavily into larger organizations, ATC Aerospace, Bombardier, which has been known to have a lot of problems in the organization, not around just cybersecurity, but just from an operational standpoint, and U.S. District Court, and the Brazilian government, right? So it's when you start, the thing that I really fear with people that have been known to hit massive organizations like this, when you start looking for new partners, we never know what kind of vetting that really goes on until, like, your Conti and all your TTPs get linked because of one of your partners, subcontractors, get mad at you. So you don't really know what kind of vetting really goes on. Will they have constraints like some of the other ones? So definitely keep an eye out for Everest Ransomware Group. they may be making a huge splash. And we did see a newish ransomware group called No Escape pop up. They do have three victims already posted in their archive, which means they've already the count. So if you remember back, so Lockbit is known famously for putting the countdown timer, right? And they are known for putting the closing information, starting to push out waves of information once that countdown hits 0. So No Escape just calls that their archive. So it's just people that have already been disclosed and kind of going from there. They do have 3 new ones. So 6 victims within 2 weeks. So they're definitely looking like they're going to be making a splash. And so I just say this as, again, a situational awareness, kind of like what we talked about a little bit ago about the Microsoft warning about phishing. As Jen Easterly with CISA would say, shields up. We're definitely seeing the writing on the wall, if you will, to that there are increased possibilities of new threats coming out, right? So I did see all right, so it looks like there's a little bit of confusion. A little Jen, did George get tagged? Okay, so he did tag Jerry. Okay. Stratus. Okay, so Jerry, congratulations. Thank you. Did Jerry accept? I'm looking in the. Just want to make sure this thing doesn't go sideways, ladies and gentlemen. And while we're doing this, I will post these 2 links into the YouTube feed. So if you're interested in reading this stuff later. And if y'all can let me know, did Jerry mods? I will stick around for 1 second here. Like I said, I did see teams blowing up. I do got to run. I did drop those 2 links. I don't think he's in the chat. Okay. George Strasburger, are you still in the chat, good sir? George Strasburger, are you in the chat still? Let me know. If not, I can text George because I do have his cell phone number. I actually know George. Oh goodness. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I actually got to talk with George here in a little bit about a different situation, but I'll talk to him about this, trying to see if he's willing to do so he was on the volunteer list if we need to pick up. Okay. So I will tag him, see if he can pick up the baton and go forward with it and kind of go from there. With that said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in. And for those who are still around, I will leave you with 2 things. One is and for those who know me all too well, here comes the sea shanty. Y'all take care of yourselves, and we will see you tomorrow. See ya.
There once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites. They were the same, a criminal, then found their fame by taking that data to go. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.